This is the day tripper pilgrims. Really nice, really nice. Today, for example, I've had a lot of energy, and I wanted to thrash it, to really push, and I have, purely for the physicality of rushing from one temple to the next, driving the body. I just felt like that had the excess energy, the boost, so I did it. Now, when though, and then there's always this argument, oh well, you should save it because you might pay for it later, but this is my question. I'm in two minds. Sometimes I think that you should follow the wisdom of the body and the soul, do what it says and react on that, and I do believe in that. However, I've done it quite a few times this past year, reacting to the wisdom of the body and what I felt, react on it, and it's burned me. So I'm not going to go into too much detail, but basically it's something I believe in, but it just seems like, you know, for like running today, maybe I'll pay for it tomorrow, but it just feels, I think if the energy's there, it should be used. So I don't know, and I've had some things which I've chased this year, just kind of run in because it felt right, and it turned out to be a blinder. So that's an interesting one. No answers, of course. I'm in between two temples, and it's night time, 7:30, there's no light. I don't want to go up into the mountain. I don't know if it's in the mountain, but I don't want to go up into the mountain in the dark, so I'm not going to do that. So I'm floating around trying to find somewhere to stay, trying to draw this meal out as long as I can. And this is the first time that I feel incredibly lonely. Right now, I want to be at home. I want to come home. This is about the most lonely I've felt in my entire life, and in this moment I hate it. I just want to come home. Yeah, I felt a bit like this in the pool, but this is hopefully it's just a surge, but yeah, that's I feel a little low, you know, living like a hen that own a home, and I don't have to, I don't need to be doing it. I earn 50 quid an hour teaching, for sake. I don't need to be living off the it's just to prove a point. So this is bollocks. Sometimes I'm such a being competitive and proving stuff. So yeah, I'm very pissed off. So I've been thrashing through about 45 kilometres a day to try and get through the miles before I go home. Now, between temples isn't necessarily exactly 45 kilometres, you see what I mean? So sometimes you get it bang on and you're in an area where there's hotels so you can stay in the temples, and sometimes there's not. So I did 50 today, but I just couldn't get to the next temple where there will be cover, so I sort of stuck in between two places, and what I decided to do, because I had lots of energy, was to push for the next one before dark. Just you know, anyway, I fell asleep under a bridge just getting out of the rain, lost time and lost about an hour and a half's worth of dark, and so got caught stranded between two temples basically, with no town in the middle of it. So I was absolutely jammed. So I had nowhere to stay, nothing to eat, and I hadn't the energy to go all the way to the next one. Also, the other thing, the next one it's the only place where you get actually travel, but you need a ferry to get across. So I was jammed between that. So I was absolutely stuck, didn't know what to do. So I had to throw out my request to the heavens and say, like, I'm really stuck on this one. So I popped into a restaurant to waste some time, actually. I think I recorded from there earlier. I was feeling pretty hopeless, so I did that. And the reason I was near a temple and wanted to do it in the light is because it was on the top, it was on a mountain, and I desperately didn't want to be climbing in the dark, by temples, just find it really frightening. But with this, I decided there's no choice, otherwise I'm just stuck and I've just wasted a whole half day. So the owner, the lady, she was really concerned. She's like a mama, you know, gave them the directions of where to go, and you know, got me really psyched up. And I went up there, boom. So I really faced my demons, which is dark. You know, dark in temples is it's pretty scary. Well, I find it pretty scary. So I was really genuinely nervous and frightened. So I had coffee before I went. I mean, most people got a beer. I had a coffee before I went. Got myself really psyched up and ready to take on basically this darkness. As it turns out, it was a car road, so it wasn't very complicated, and it was completely lit. It was like more lit than anywhere in the daytime. So after I decided to face my fear, it wasn't bad after all, which was great. Got back and hung out at the restaurant for a little bit, and the lady was just she was just really nice. You know, between her broken English and my broken Japanese, we had a really good conversation, and she was really like caring type, and she was really concerned about where I was going to sleep, and her husband offered to drive me to the ferry port, which of course I had to decline because of the walk, and she knows that because she's Buddhist. So it was just fascinating. It was just really confirmed my belief in humans, you know, how they will really pull in together, and they'll do a lot for a Hendro who's putting himself out. Before that I was at a real low, then I had to face the fear, and I don't like the dark. So I faced it, took it on the chin, and it turned out to be not bad at all. I locked up at 10. I asked in my way of, do you know where there's a hotel? Hoping that they'll take me home to them. So it's not quite that good, but he's let me stay in here. So I've got this floor all night. I can stretch out. There's a load of old left socks and shirts and stuff, you know, ones that are left that I've spread out on the floor. Oh, it's like heaven. So I can stretch out, take my time. It's like being in my own hotel room. Oh, and for free, so thank you very much. But I've surprised myself how excited I am having a floor to myself. Oh my god. Right, good night. My cleaning place to this.